The NASDAQ has said that tokenized stocks will be a top concern. What does this mean for XRP? Could it be used to calm down the stock market at the end of the day? At least Jake Claver seems to believe that. I'm going to give you a lot of information in this movie so that you can understand what's going on. Let's get right to it. It's Sunday. I hope your weekend is going well. Let's start. NASDAQ gives tokenized stocks a lot of attention. NASDAQ's head of crypto says they are working very hard to get the SEC to let them trade tokenized stocks. This would let buyers trade tokenized shares of companies that are on the stock market directly on NASDAQ. Let me tell you this. Been interested in digital assets since 2021 when you launched the NASDAQ Crypto Index. NASDAQ has been getting more and more involved with this since then. Okay, as he talks about the future, this is the head of digital assets at NASDAQ. Okay, this is the person in charge, right? It was in September that NASDAQ asked the SEC to change the rules so that tokenized stocks and ETP could be traded. That's why I want to start with the most recent event. What was the main reason for that move? It's clear that a lot of people are interested in tokenized stocks right now. That was probably a part of it. What else was there, though? We filed the rule filing with the SEC that gives our owners and members the freedom to choose how to settle, hold, and represent their assets. You can now hold them in their traditional form under traditional accounts, or you can display them in tokenized form on the blockchain. And the main goal of this is to connect the worlds of standard assets and digital assets. But you should do it. And part of our job is to make sure you do it in a way that puts the client first. We saw this as a way to give owners options and move things along. I believe the most important thing here is that we're not making a brand new strange instrument. The stock stays the same. And that's why it's so important that we put the owner first and give them all the rights and title that a shareholder should have when they own a share. That basically means that when you trade that, it's the same QCIP that's being traded. It can be used for both the ticket and its original form. Giving the investor the option to hold on to it on the back end so that they can use it for new purposes makes the tool more useful. That's why we're really thinking about the investor and making sure they have the right and title to the product, which goes against what some people have said. You also want to make sure that investors are protected at the same level when it comes to something that might be seen as a derivative, but doesn't necessarily have the full right and claim to that. Okay, this chat is great. I'll put it down below. I'm going to look through this and pick out some other things to show you. For now, though, I just wanted the chief or person in charge of everything to give you a sense of how things are going to progress. That way, you can hear it from the very top. That's not just what I say. The person in charge at NASDAQ is the one who said it. We need that, right? We need to be sure that this is taking place. This is who is telling us once we know for sure that we can now make plans for the future. Okay, so I wanted to learn more about tokenized stocks, the timeline, and all that other stuff. Let's look over that information. On the back part, I have a lot of great things to show you. Don't leave this one too early. Instead of completely getting rid of the stock market, this idea is mostly about letting buyers trade on chain stock tokens that look like listed shares and use blockchain in the background. In reality, NASDAQ's plan asks the SEC to let listed stocks and ETPs trade in both traditional and tokenized forms, with both types having the same QCIP and the same rights, such as the ability to vote on dividends and other things. Under the rules of the current national market system, trades would still go through the NASDAQ order book. The tokenized part deals with how situations are kept track of and settled, not making a new trade on the blockchain. Users in the market could decide for each trade whether their positions should settle in the usual way or using the blockchain-based wallet system. In other words, you can use the old ways even if it takes an extra day or something. One thing that you will be able to do, though, is get your money right away. They'll always be able to do this, right? We'll always give you both sides of a new method so you can choose. But that old option and that old system will be phased out in the same way that checks and pennies are phased out. Credit cards will eventually be obsolete and everything will be done through an app on your phone, similar to how we use our phones now. Here are the dates and times that the rollout is expected to happen. The tokenization rule was sent in by NASDAQ on September 8th. Public comments are being looked at by the SEC. Based on internal discussions, the first tokenized settled deals could happen as early as the third quarter of 2026, but this is completely dependent on how fast the SEC moves and any system sign-offs that are needed. The head of NASDAQ Digital Assets said that they will move quickly and make this a top priority. This is not a full tokenization of the stock market, it's just tokenizing the market and the system. Bear assets are crypto assets that can freely move around on public chains and are owned directly by consumers without going through any middlemen. Instead, it's a hybrid model where the same regulated assets can also exist as tokens on permissioned blockchains. This is done to improve settlement speed, collateral mobility, and post-trade processing, all while keeping the current structure of the broker deal and exchange. Is it true that they don't want to get rid of the old systems? They've been building up these big, powerful organizations for decades. Remember that those people are really in charge behind the scenes, and they don't want to be left out. So this hybrid form is what you'll get. I don't want to upset too many people, but I believe this is the beginning of something much bigger. Eventually, all of this value will be sold on the blockchain. Who is in charge of the stock market's back end? To give you an idea, the plan depends on the DTC, or Depository Trust Company, which is part of the DTCC, to clear and settle tokenized forms of assets. The DTC would turn eligible positions into tokens that would be sent to DTC register wallets on the permission blockchain. The system would still work with current NASDAQ and broker systems, and trades would still be set in T-Pull-Down at first. When I looked at the DTCC's current tokenization possibilities, I asked, well, what are their choices? R3 and maybe even XRP. In DTCC's plans, they are making a stack that works with more than one network. This stack will include approval or public chains, app chains based on quarters, and more. The main blockchain is not XRP or the XRP system, but they are important parts of it. The DTCC's main blockchain stack, the DTCC Live DLT settlement platform for US shares project ION, is made with R3 Corda and works with the old system at the same time. This makes Corda a key production ledger for tokenized stock settlement right now. The DTCC released its collateral app chain and infrastructure layer for tokenized collateral in 2025. These were made using the LF Decentralized Trust Hyperledger BISO implementation. To say it again, putting more emphasis on permission EVM tech than a DTCC chain. Does R3 play a part here? Yes, DTCC has confirmed in public that R3 is the company that offers the Corda DLT software as part of Project ION, and they work together with R3 to create an operational platform for equity settlement and possible SCC clearing expansion. Some people in the industry say that R3 was picked because it works well with regulated private network workflows between banks and brokers. This is a good fit for DTCC's needs for managing participation, privacy, and post-trade processes. The DTCC's own digital assets and tokenization papers talk about a way to connect to many public and private chains using an app chain and middleware layers. This way, different assets can be used and can go live on different networks as needed. The DTCC's patents and strategies show that they specifically made it so that it could work with big ecosystems like Ethereum, Hedera, and Cosmos, as well as payment networks like Ripple's XRP, but only as a choice for settling liquidity. Possible ways to settle cash, all right? Also, I wanted to show you this video of Jake Claver basically explaining R3's plan. Does selling funds on the back end of the stock market have any competition with XRP? Do you think XRP will win? Yes, there isn't any other choice for the large-scale back end of the stock market. R3 can settle a few other things before you talk about competition. They have joined forces with Solana. These people have used XTC. That's been talked about in public. The main method of payment for... Okay, that was so funny. This channel used to talk about Project ION a long time ago. I remember how exciting it was to talk about R3 and the links to XRP. Seeing this all come full circle is a really special time for me. It's likely that you knew this day was coming if you've been following along for the past few years. It's also really fun to watch all of this happen. Anyway, I did say I would talk about the Clarity for a bit, right? The Clarity Act has not yet been passed in the United States. This means that most coins don't have the rules they need to work with these new systems. I also asked, aren't XRP and Bitcoin the only things that DTCC and R3 could use right now? And it says that the DTCC can only handle XRP and Bitcoin for now. The legal picture is a bit more complicated though. This should take place in the third quarter. Depending on how long the SEC takes, it could happen sooner. Of course, XRP is the only thing they'll be able to use if this were to happen. Say in the first quarter when there aren't any rules in place. It seems like XRP would be a good choice here, but I wouldn't bet on it. With Ethereum and Hedera, I also think they'll have a part to play here. But things are getting really exciting now after that. What rules do we have now? I really needed to know that extra point. The joint staff statement from the SEC and CFTC on September 20th and 25th made it clear that registered SEC and CFTC exchanges can list and clear certain spot crypto asset products under current law, as long as they follow the rules for monitoring custody margin and investor protection. Spot Bitcoin ETPs have full SEC approval, and the Ripple case left in place the decision that XRP sold on public exchanges is not a security in and of itself. However, some institutional sales of securities offerings make it easier for institutions to use Bitcoin and XRP than most other tokens. But that doesn't mean they are the only assets that can be used. We've already talked a lot about the DTCC and their plan. Let's keep going. Of course, Mr. Larry Fink has been telling us this for the past 6 months or so, what he thinks the stock market will do in the future. This video clip is good, so let's play it. It's likely that the chance for tokenization will be the most important factor in how the world's banking system changes over time. To be honest, if we could tokenize all of our ETFs, all 5.3 trillion worth of them, and put them in a digital wallet, you could buy bonds or stocks without any fees from a digital currency, stable coin, or anything else that was in your digital wallet. That's what I think the future will be like. The chance to... Isn't that woman sitting there the CEO of Franklin Templeton? That looks like the person it is. That's where I might be wrong. Also, I'd like to show you this. Robinhood just turned almost 500 stocks and ETFs into ATOs on Arbitrum. Arbitrum will be used here all over the world. It shows that the assets are worth about $8.5 million and the total mints are worth more than $19 million. Under the MiFID, EU users can now trade tokenized stocks 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for as little as €1. With this change, Robinhood is no longer just a dealer. Wall Street is getting more and more like a coin. So Robinhood, that was the play. Robinhood also bought Bitstamp, and I'll have some information in a moment. We saw this, of course. This was talked about a few days ago. Tokenized stocks are going global. From today on, Undue Finance will start tokenizing US stocks and ETFs in Europe. And the US, this isn't a plane. Here, the US market is open to buyers from all over the world. Robo-assets are taking over. I also want to add that Robinhood Global Stock Tokenization is currently running on Arbitron Ethereum Layer 2, not on the XRP ledger, by way of background. So far, Bitstamp's main job is to act as the place where Robinhood's EU crypto permanent futures trade, not as the place where tokenized stocks trade. Robinhood's tokenized stocks are where the money is. Around the middle of 2025, Robinhood introduced stock tokens to the European Union. These let people in Europe trade digital copies of 200 US stocks. It's now 500. These stock tokens are released on Arbitrum One and then on the XRP ledger. There are no fees for doing this. Robinhood has said that these tokenized stocks will move on their own Layer 2 blockchain in the future. Robinhood is making their own chain, which is built on top of the Arbitrum stack. There are no signs that extra PL is being used. I just wanted to make that clear and go over it. I did mean to get here. Robinhood Markets paid $200 million for Bitstamp. It is now called Bitstamp by Robinhood and is Robinhood's first big crypto business. It is an important part of Robinhood's plan to go global with its tokenization push. Bitstamp's main job is to act as a place where crypto perpetual contracts can be executed. Robinhood's EU dreams that will never end. Trades with up to 3x leverage go through Bitstamp's exchange system, with Bitstamp acting as both the matching engine and the liquidity provider. We are still using Bitstamp's technology to connect the XRP ledger to this site as a liquidity provider. Global rights and access for institutions. Bitstamp has more than 50 licenses and registrations, such as those from MiCA and the EU. Robinhood wanted to buy Bitstamp because it had licenses that would let it give crypto and derivatives to institutional and retail clients in the EU, UK, and US. This would also help Robinhood get a lot more clients. In terms of crypto liquidity and services, Bitstamp offers institutional-grade APIs, deep order book staking loans, and crypto liquidity. Robinhood has added these to its global crypto suite. XRPL is also linked to Bitstamp, and Bipsen has made it clear that it is creating a new cryptocurrency futures market on the XRP ledger. This derivatives platform will use XRPL's speed to make cross-border settlements cheap. It will likely support products like futures and options, and XRP could be used as the original settlement asset. On the other hand, this XRP-based derivatives exchange is not the same as Robinhood's present offering of tokenized stocks on Arbitrum. I just want to show you the differences. Of course, this all fits into Robinhood's three-phase tokenization plan. In phase 1, stocks are tokenized, and Arbitrum users in the EU get tokenized US stocks and ETFs issued on Arbitrum with trading 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. In phase 2, Robinhood is the issuer, and trading is done 24 hours a day, 7 days a week through Vidstamp infrastructure. Robinhood trades stocks and tokens 24 hours a day, 7 days a week using Vidstamp exchange technology and licenses, matching the hours of the coin market. The third step is DeFi-ready tokens that don't need approval. The goal is to make stock tokens truly open permissionless assets by letting people take them and use them as collateral in DeFi like Aave. That's why we got this clip. This is from a Robinhood event and is mostly about what we're talking about here. In order for you to understand, let me play you a little bit of this. But we've learned that real adoption isn't going to happen as we've gotten millions of people to use Robin and crypto by making people learn how the blockchain works, or even worse, by making them farm benefits on every new crypto app. It will happen not only by making the technology better, but also by making the interface so simple and clear that it's hard to tell what it's for. The same reason why ChatGPT caught on so quickly with hundreds of millions of people. That's what we did with stock coins. We kept the difficult technology hidden and made it simple, quick, and easy to use. To show you how this works, I'll show you the difference between buying a stock through a standard brokerage and buying stock tokens. The US app, which you can see on the left side of the screen, lets you buy stocks the easy way. The EU app with stock tokens is on the right. So let's say we're interested in Apple from this page on. We'll type in how much Apple I want to buy, which is about 100 euros. Then we'll hit review and swipe up, and the trade is done. That is really cool. That's all there is to it. It's amazing that this says token, but this says token. You'll be able to tell them apart at that point. Or I just wanted to make that clear in case you missed it. You didn't see that on the screen. Both apps give you the same experience, but the technology that makes this possible is very different. You wouldn't even know this was a blockchain exchange if we hadn't told you that this was a token that you were buying with this token badge right here. But if you do click on this badge, you'll find out everything you need to know about trading stock coins in the Robinhood app. And I'll quickly go over the important points really fast. Do you know when a certain tool made it around the world? When people use the technology behind something without even realizing it, then there are times when everyone uses the technology and you don't even know it. The technology is doing what it needs to do in the background. Yes, of course. For starters, some of you may have been wondering, having stock tokens won't keep you from getting dividends. These payments, along with any stock splits that might happen, will be sent straight to the account where you hold your tokens. You will also be able to use ETFs. You can get into some of the most popular US ETFs, such as VOO, SPY, and more, through stock coins. Finally, we're bringing the same dealing with no fees that our US users love to the EU. Roboted stock tokens will not have any commissions, secret fees, or extra spreads. I should point out that there is a 0.10% FX exchange fee when your euros are changed to dollars for you during the trade. That's one of the lowest prices you can find anywhere. Okay guys, I'll leave it at that. You now have a good idea of what's going to happen with tokenized stocks in the US and what might be the most important payment asset in the crypto market right now. Yes, it is XRP. Thank you all so much for being here with me today. You can like the video, leave a comment below, or share it with a friend or family member if it was useful to you. I just want to say how much I value your time. I hope this week is great for you. Hello.